Let's look at the concept of strings. If we look at a string variable, str, that contains the value computer, each character in the string has a position. For example, C is at position 1, O is at position 2, M is at position 3, P is at position 4, and so forth, with R being at position 8. If we want to find the length of the string, we use a function called length, specify the name of the string, and that returns the length as an integer value. So the length of the string str would be 8. How do we get the position in a string? We can treat the string like an array, since a string is basically an array of characters. So str square bracket 1 means we're looking at position 1, and that will be stored in the variable ch, where ch will be declared of type char, or it could also be of type string. str2 will then give you the second character, which will be the O. As we said, str1 is the first character, which is the C, and str5 will return the U. We can also change a character within a string. So by saying str1 assign the value J, we are then replacing character 1 with a J. So the word computer then becomes JOMPUTER. The J replaces the C in the string. Similarly, we are now changing position 4 to an S. So position 4, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, that's the P. We change that to an S. So the new string str will be JOMSUTER. Remember that this is now the value of the variable str. By using str4, we are changing one character. The character at position 4 is changing to an S. Let's look at another example. In this instance, let's assume that we have a variable str, which is of type string, and we're getting that value from an edit box. In this instance, the user will type in a value for str. Let's work on the assumption that the value input is the quick brown fox. How do we go about finding the position of the space? So here is a space in the sentence. How do we determine the position of that space? There is a predefined function called pos that returns the position. The first character is what you are looking for. In other words, I'm looking for a space, and the second parameter is the string in which I'm looking for the space. So pos will find the space in that string and return the answer as an integer. In this instance, the space will be found at position 4, and that will be stored in the variable p, which will be declared of type integer. If I then want to get the first word out of the string, I can make use of another function called copy. Copy can have 3 parameters. The first parameter is the string we're copying from. The second is where we want to start copying from. And the third represents the number of characters we want to take from the starting point. So I'm saying copy from my string, the quick brown fox, start at position 1, which is the T, and take P minus 1. Recall P was the position where we found the space, which was 4. Minus 1 will take it to 3. So that's where the last letter of the first word will end. So in this case, copy from 1 and take 3 characters that will have the value the, and word will be declared of type string. In the second example, copy is being used again, but it only has 2 parameters. The third parameter is omitted. We're copying from our string, str, which is the quick brown fox, and we are telling it the starting point to start at P. Remember, P was 4, the position of the space, plus 1. So 4 plus 1 will be at position 5. And position 5 is the start of the second word in the sentence. If we don't specify the third parameter, which is how many characters, it will automatically go to the end of the string. So copy from str, start at position 5 and go to the end, and that will return quick brown fox. Then we have a delete. Delete has 3 parameters, similar to the copy. So delete, the variable we're deleting from, the starting position where we're going to delete, and the number of characters we are deleting from the starting position. So in str, which again is the quick brown fox, I am starting to delete from position 1, which is the T in the, and P is the position, which is 4. So I'm taking 4 characters from position 1 and I'm deleting it in str. So that will return, in other words, it will delete the first word and give me quick brown fox, and that will be now stored in the variable str. Then we have insert. Insert works in some ways similar to pause, where we are inserting a particular character in a string, but it has a third parameter which tells you the position at which we are inserting it at. So we are inserting a dollar into str, which is the quick brown fox, at position 5. So position 5 is Q. It then means that our string str will be the space dollar UICK. So the Q is replaced with a dollar, brown fox. You should also note that when we used length, when we used pause, and we used copy, we assigned these to a variable because those were functions. But when I used insert and delete, we don't assign them to a variable because those are called procedures. We simply call it by its name and give it the parameters that it requires. Let's look at a few examples. How do we search each character in a string, change each vowel to a dollar? So I've got a particular string. The string could be the quick brown fox, and I want to change each vowel into a dollar. So my first vowel is the E that needs to become a dollar. Then I've got the U, dollar, I, dollar. I've got the O, dollar, and then again a O, dollar. So your new string should then become TH dollar, Q dollar, dollar CK, BR dollar, WN, F dollar X. We've taken each vowel in the sentence and replaced it with a dollar. How do we go about writing the code for this in Delphi? So let's assume we have a string variable str, and str, we're getting its value from an edit box edt sent, and we get it from the text property. Str will obviously be declared of type string. So we now want to search each character in our string. And the technique from a previous video, you should remember, we use a for loop for I from 1 to the length of the string variable str, do, begin. We then treat the string variable like an array, and I check if it is a vowel. So if str, I treat it like an array, and to look for vowels, we use the set operator in and check if it is an A, comma, E, I, O, U. So if it is in the set A, E, I, O, U, notice I'm only using capital letters. So I should really be converting this to uppercase. You will remember that when you're working with characters, you use uppercase, but if you're converting a string, then you use uppercase. So if stri is in the set A, E, I, O, U, remember when I is 1, we are checking str1, which will be the first character, and we're checking if that character is in the set A, E, I, O, U, and because it's a loop, I then becomes 2, in which case I'm now looking at the second character in the string, it will be H. We're checking if H is in the set A, E, I, O, U. It loops again, I becomes 3, and we're checking if str3 is in that set. So as the loop changes, as the I value changes in the loop, we're looking at a different character, and we're checking if that character is in the set A, E, I, O, and U. So if it is, what do you want to do to it? Well, the question wants us to change that vowel into a dollar. So the vowel is found at position I in str. So we will say that str at position I, where we found the vowel, should be replaced with a dollar. End, end. So this is a loop. As I changes, when I is 1, it checks if the first position is a vowel. In this example, T is not. So it ignores, it's not true. It ignores the statement, goes back up. I becomes 2. That's now referring to the H. It's not in the set. Ignores that statement, goes back up. I becomes 3. str3 is E. Uppercase is capital letter, and that is contained in our set A, E, I, O, U. The condition is true. And stri, which is now at position 3, str3 will take on a dollar. So that is how the dollar will be inserted into the string. And that loop just continues until the end of the string is reached.